researching about the tufted titmouse and watching videos of them have given me a good insight into what these birds must be like. Although I don't have them in my location and therefore not familiar with them as I am with the chickadees, I can imagine myself spending just as much time with these birds as I do the chickadees, nuthatches, blue jays, gray jays, crows, and sparrows that I get in my area. It wouldn't be long before I'd be naming individuals of this charming species. Their endearing look in similar ways that they do things like their cousin the chickadee certainly makes them highly lovable. I want to point out that one thing about these birds that have always struck me is just how almost unreal they look. As if a drawing, but here in real life. They are the quintessential Disney bird as far as I'm concerned, bearing all the key elements required: a dainty bird with big cute eyes, charming crest, and pretty coloration. Belonging to the same family as chickadees, parody, the tufted titmouse is a regular feeder visitor. For people in the eastern United States, this is one of the most familiar birds, thanks to their way of readily hanging around neighborhoods, especially in winter. Common in deciduous forests, these charming birds can be seen showing off their acrobatic skills as they hang upside down or sideways while checking out a cone or branch. With striking dark eyes, a distinctive pointy crest, and stout bills, the tufted titmouse is easy to identify. Tufted refers to the crest of feathers on their head, and titmouse comes from the Old English words tit and mase, meaning a small bird. Mase became obsolete and replaced with mouse, a familiar word that described their quick movements, much like a small rodent. Their adorable crest is similar to two other very familiar birds, cardinals and blue jays, and can help to express their mood to others in the flock. Their look may seem to suggest they are of delicate nature, however they are actually quite bold and full of character. Noticeably larger than chickadees, the tufted titmouse measures 5.5 to 6.5 inches and weighs roughly 6 to 9 ounces. They have large heads, thick necks, and are full-bodied. Their back has a pretty silvery gray color and their belly is white. Some individuals have a vibrant peach or rust color on the flanks, while others are much lighter. Giving them a snub-nosed look is a noticeable black patch just above the bill. When it comes to males and females, their plumage is the same, so it's hard to distinguish between the two. The only slight difference is their size, with males being just a little bit larger. It's pretty easy to tell them apart from most birds, but there is another titmouse they look like, the black-crested titmouse. So much so that they sometimes mate with each other, where their ranges meet, creating hybrids. The tufted titmouse is a permanent resident, good news for people lucky to have them. With that said, some birds move a short distance away from where they were raised, heading off in any direction including north. In fact, this species has been expanding its range northward for the last few decades, a push that has been fairly steady. Major things that seem to be aiding in this expansion are feeders, a warmer climate, and the reversion of farmlands into forests. It's easy to find one of these delightful birds since they love backyards, often visiting them. City parks that have large trees are also places they enjoy being in, as well as old orchards. For more natural settings, deciduous and mixed woods are your best shot, especially ones that have dense canopy and different species of trees. Check for them high up, flitting through the outer branches, and also listen for them in mixed species foraging flocks, as you may hear their vocalizations amongst the twittering. It should be a little easier to observe them moving along a limb than it is with chickadees due to their more relaxed nature of moving through their environment. A great thing about these birds is that if you spot one, it's likely other birds are around. Make sure to scan for nuthatches, kinglets, chickadees, and woodpeckers, since they are known to hang out with tufted titmice. As with chickadees, much of the tufted titmouse diet in summer is mostly insects and other arthropods, with caterpillars being a very important prey during this time. Many other sources include beetles, ants, wasps, bees, sawflies, spiders, and snails. Roughly 2/3 of their annual diet is made up of insects. They also eat plant sources, such as acorns, beech nuts, and other nuts and seeds. Even the occasional berry or small fruit may be consumed, which can be of great help over the winter. Although they spend a lot of time up in the trees searching for food, They will sometimes come down to the ground to hop around as they hunt for insects and fallen seeds. Just as with chickadees, these guys can forage acrobatically. When foraging for seeds or nuts, they tend to select the largest. Due to their fondness for those foods and the fact they love suburban areas, it's easy to attract them to a feeder offering their favorite foods. Mealworms are also a great choice and can be dried or alive. Just as with chickadees, when they take a sunflower seed to eat, it is held with their feet and hammered open with their strong little beaks. In fall, they will get busy hoarding these food items away into trees for later feeding when food is scarce. Since they readily use feeders, much of what they store away comes from these sources. In fact, cache locations are within 130 feet of the feeder. One seed or nut at a time may be taken to the storage site, and they prefer to shell them before hiding them away. When it comes to the sounds of these cute birds, the tufted titmouse is described as having an echoing voice. This little melody is a quintessential sound of the eastern forests of the United States, which can be heard a great portion of the year, sometimes even during midwinter thaws. It is a very clear whistled series of 4 to 8 notes that sound like Peter, 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 often repeated over and over. As many as 35 songs can be delivered in 1 minute. Typically it is the males who sing the Peter Peter song, but females do have a quieter version which may be used to alert their mate to breeding activities. There are other calls made by this perky little bird that has a nasal or mechanical sound to them. One common series of notes they make is pretty similar to the chickadee-dee-dee call, except their version is more scratchy and sounds like, and a harsh distress call is given when a predator is spotted to let others know. Typically, pairs stay together on their territory year-round, but they may join small flocks of other titmice in winter. However, they do not typically form large flocks outside of the breeding season, as their close relative chickadees do. Mostly, it is just a pair on their territory, often accompanied by one of their offspring from that year. From time to time, non-related juveniles from other areas may also be present. As winter comes to an end, flocks break up with pairs going on to establish their own nesting territories, similar to chickadees. This is when the breeding season commences, running from April until early July. As with chickadees, the tufted titmouse is a cavity nester. However, they do not excavate their own nest hole. Instead, they rely on natural cavities or an old woodpecker hole, pointing to how important woodpeckers and other birds who make their own cavities are to the ecosystem, and how critical it is to the population of these birds for land managers to not cut down too many dead trees out of an area. The average height of a nest above ground is 35 feet, but it can range anywhere from 3 feet to as high as 90 feet. There are times when they'll use artificial structures too, including things like fence posts and even metal pipes. The tufted titmouse will also sometimes use nest boxes that are properly installed for them. For people interested in going this route, Cornell's Nest Watch suggests that the nest box be 5.5 inches for width and length, with a depth of 8 inches and an entrance hole of 1.25 inch. The box should be placed on a pole at around 5 to 15 feet, and in an area with large deciduous trees. It's also important to attach a steel guard to the outside entrance to eliminate the possibility of predators like squirrels chewing their way through. The nest itself is made by the female, which first includes a foundation of grass, moss, leaves, or bark strips to apply the softer material such as animal hair on top to lay her eggs in. It can take the female a week or 2 to fully complete the nest. When searching for nesting material, tufted titmice can be rather brave, often plucking fur from live dogs and even taking hair from humans. There is quite a wide list of animal fur they will take advantage of, as naturalists discovered from examining various titmice nests. Some of what they found included rabbit, cow, cat, mouse, woodchuck, squirrels, horse, raccoons, and a possum. Anywhere around 3 to 9 creamy white eggs with reddish brown or purple spots are laid, and measure close to 1 inch in length and a little more than 1 inch in width. Each day the female lays 1 egg, until she reaches her threshold. Only the female warms the eggs, an intimate commitment that lasts for 2 weeks. After hatching, the female stays with them as the male hunts for food to bring back to the nest. As the babies grow older, both parents take part in finding food to feed the young. An interesting thing is that sometimes they have a helper. On rare occasions, one of their offspring from the previous year will take part in caring for their siblings. Nearly 3 weeks later, the young fledge and remain with their parents for weeks after, sometimes remaining as a family group into the next year. These fun little birds are very common, and the data collected on the number of tufted titmice between 1966 and 2015 show that there was an increase in population during that time frame. It's estimated by Partners in Flight that the breeding population is around 8 million. They aren't on the 2016 State of North America's Birds Watch list, indicating that they are doing pretty well. With that said, this doesn't mean there's no threat to them. They face the same threats as less adaptable birds, such as predation by cats, collisions with glass, and the cutting down of mature forests. Luckily, there are efforts put forth to help with these threats. The American Bird Conservancy has programs like Cats Indoors and Glass Collisions that provide helpful solutions to these challenges. For anyone interested, I will leave a link down below. When it comes to longevity, the average lifespan is 2 years or so. However, these birds can live longer if an individual can reach adulthood. One wild tufted titmouse lived to be at least 13 years and 3 months old. The bird was banded in Virginia in 1962 and found in the same state in 1974. Makes you wonder about the unrecorded ones. Have any lived longer? After doing this video, I can see why for many years people have expressed their admiration of the tufted titmouse to me, asking me to please do a video on them. How can anyone not like this little rascal? My mate for life, Jamie, thinks they are the coolest little birds. He really likes them. It was fun making this video, and I want to say thank you very much to those who sent in pictures and videos of the tufted titmouse. I wasn't able to use everyone's in this video, but I plan to make use of them in a future video. Links to everyone's social media or websites are down in the description. Please go check them out. What are your thoughts and experiences you had with this enchanting bird? Comment below, and as always, I truly hope that you got some enjoyment from watching this video. Take care. Happy birding.